Welcome back to the Irish Max Show, episode 97. We are edging ever closer to episode 100. My name is Paul. I'll be your host for today. Alongside me, Mr. Alan Williamson. It's just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
Nice.
Some might say the dream team, the dream duo.
I mean, it's almost, I feel like there's just this weight lost off, this stress, it's like sometimes when I record with you two, it's like those cartoons where you have the good conscience and the bad conscience. And we know exactly who's who in this one, Alan. Don't we?
Well, I just want to give you a sneak peek. So I was with Chris for the match on Wednesday night. And for the first 70 minutes, all he talked about was how bad Anthony Gordon was. man of the match, Anthony Gordon.
Man of the match, Anthony Gordon, who scored and set up goals and terrorized their fucking right back.
So that's the end of that.
That is hilarious. I mean, we will talk about it, but I actually came out of that game saying it's the best game I've ever seen Anthony Gordon play.
He was absolutely amazing.
Yeah. It's funny how people see things differently. But when you're Krisho, you see things differently to the rest of the world, in fairness.
Yes, he's on his own.
We already know that. Hopefully, Krisho will be back with us next week. And of course, he'll be back because we're approaching episode 100. And if you've not mentioned it before, we have. We're going to have a very special guest joining us to celebrate episode 100. And we may even be live to celebrate the occasion, Alan. If you and me aren't headfirst in the new Football Manager game, which at the time of recording, the FM 26 beta drops in 53 minutes. So I know Alan is keen to get this recorded so he can stick the head in Football Manager, and I'm sure Emma will be delighted.
Yes, she's truly delighted that I spend all my time on the PC.
Yeah, in that room.
Yes.
Right. Let's crack on. What are we going to talk about today? Well, as I said, at the time of recording, I yesterday got back from Newcastle because I was fortunate enough to be at our Champions League victory over Benfica. And it was class. I'm not going to lie. We had a great time. We had a great day, great evening, great game to be at.
Yes.
And seeing as we haven't recorded since prior to the Brighton game, I think, Alan, we should have a chat. I can only describe it as, why are we great in the cups and shite in the league? Is that too? It might be an extreme view, but I'm struggling to understand it. So I think we need to pick it apart and dissect what the difference is realistically.
Yeah,
because just looking at the performances, even in the league games that we've won, like Forest, for example, just like not been amazing winning those games, and ultimately we just haven't really kicked off in the league, I feel, yet. Despite Valdemade scoring goals here and there, and despite us, the games we've lost have been narrow or late. It just feels like we haven't got going yet. So I think that will be the main topic of discussion for today. Before we get to that, Alan, I want to ask you something here. And I haven't even warned you I was going to bring this up. Literally, it's nothing you won't be able to handle, but it literally popped up on my phone before I started recording. A clip of Jamie Carragher on the old Monday night, must have been Monday Night Football, I don't know what it was, going on about Alexander Isak at Liverpool. And they're now spinning a little bit of an angle here, because obviously Isak hasn't been great for Liverpool. Namely, he's only scored one poxy goal.
Yes.
Has been playing poorly, has barely lasted 90 minutes. He came off at halftime.
Yes. There's also rumors he has a groin injury now.
There you go. So Newcastle fans are delighted with all of the things that we've just said. The Liverpool narrative now, particularly from Jamie Carragher, who's obviously a very unbiased and a very level-headed, logical pundit, as pundits go, not said no one ever. He's kind of now saying, Arne Slot needs to find a way to fit Isak in the team with Ekitike. They need to be able to gel. And it's like, hold on a second now. Like, are you making... is this just you making excuses for him? Like, just because you've got two aces, let's call them two aces, right? One is 120 million, the other is 85 million. Like, that doesn't mean they just have to both be in the team. And the fact that they're not both playing together, or the fact that Arne Slot hasn't found a way to get them playing in the same team, that's not why Isak is playing shit. Isak's playing shit because he hasn't had a proper preseason. Isak's playing shit because his head hasn't been in the game for, nigh on 6 months, if not more. Yes. Isak's not playing well because his country are struggling, and he's doing nothing to help them otherwise in terms of their World Cup qualification. And ultimately, he's struggling because he's not. But like, just on that topic, like, do you, like, when you look at what's going on in Isak, and we're very unbiased here, obviously, as well. Respect to Jamie Carragher. But what do you think is going on realistically there with Alexander Isak in terms of his form, in terms of his performances? Because at the end of the day, this is a senior professional elite level footballer, but something's clearly wrong.
Alexander Isak has to be the star of the show. When he was at Newcastle, everything was, the pinnacle was, do whatever we need to do to get the ball into Alexander Isak for him to score the goals. Now he's at Liverpool. He has to deal with Salah. He has to deal with Jota. He has to deal with, sorry, he doesn't have to deal with Jota. He has to deal with Gakpo. He has to deal with, like, Szoboszlai. He's not, everything isn't being worked through him anymore. So it's going to be an adjustment period. Look, he will realistically come good. I can't see him going there and not scoring goals. He is a world-class player. But he was the big fish for Newcastle, where he's not going to be the big fish for Liverpool. And arguably at the minute, Ekitike should be starting every single day of the week ahead of him, because it's not a comparison anymore. Newcastle fans said it. If you're buying Ekitike, there's absolutely no need to buy Isak as well. They're the same player. It's going to be very hard to shoehorn them into the one team, as you could see last night when they had Ekitike playing out on the right. When he does not want to be a winger, he wants to be going through the middle. Like, it's going to be difficult for Slot. I don't know what's going to really happen to it, but listen, we're 130 million richer. We've replaced him with a player who scored 5 goals in 7 games. We're not exactly struggling at the minute, so it's not the worst thing in the world.
No, and obviously there's a sense of justice, or there are a lot of people out there who take satisfaction in seeing this guy's misfortunes on the pitch. Where I take most satisfaction is just seeing Liverpool experiencing misfortune as a team. And I like to think that that's a bit of a what goes around comes around for all the shenanigans of the summer. Obviously, they had a big win in the Champions League last night. What was it, 5-1?
Frankfurt are absolutely awful.
Yeah, Frankfurt they've gone to shit, in fairness, from where they were. Interestingly, obviously, that's Ekitike's former side. But I think it's interesting when you talk about Isak being a big fish, and when I think about it from a tactical perspective, when you look at the way when Isak was in the Newcastle side, it did become it wasn't just, everything's about Isak or just play around Isak or give the ball to Isak, but he was a focal point, and it was all about creating build-up play and creating chances that would suit Isak, whether that was Murphy, whether that was Gordon, looking at the runs Isak was doing. A lot of it was set up for Isak to thrive. And why wouldn't you? Again, as I said, he's an ace. Yes. We had an ace in the side. You do that when you're Newcastle, particularly with the squad we would have had. It's just interesting that they can't seem to even get close to replicating it at Liverpool. Granted, it's only been a little while, but when you just look at the quality of player, with the chances they can create just based on the personnel and the fact that it hasn't happened yet, it is interesting. And I know people talk about time, things take time. Hasn't taken Voltamadi that much time to get settled in.
It's also a massive confidence thing. I think his confidence took a serious knock when he didn't score quick, and now he's in his own head, I think, where he's kind of going, okay, it's been 5 games, it's been 4 games, I've scored in the cup. Not that it doesn't count, but he wants a goal in the league or the Champions League to say, I've finally gotten myself up and running, and he's going to be in his own head a little bit. We as Newcastle fans know he goes through spells. He will score 17 goals in 18 games and then not score for 10 games, and you get very frustrated with him. But he's missing chances he would have scored for Newcastle, which is not the worrying thing, let's be honest, because we're delighted in the fact that he's not scoring goals. But like it's a weird one, and I'm not happy he's struggling, but I'm obviously I'm not delighted he's not scoring either. So it's not no skin off my nose.
No, of course. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with us taking satisfaction in him not doing well. It's not just that he left. I mean, had he left in a differently, way, circumstances, and you're kind of going, you know what, you fucking deserve that, right?
Yes.
But it's also, there is a satisfaction to take because we don't like Liverpool fans anymore, and we have beef there, and it's a healthy beef to be had.
Yes.
But to see the fact that between Wirtz and Isak. Like, I thought when they started signing these lads, I was like, Liverpool are going to steamroll the league here. And it's great for the league that they're not, because I was legit going, okay, they're after spending 400 million. I mean, if they'd have signed Gahey, there's a meme of Sheldon from Big Bang Theory where he just fucks the papers up in the air. Like, that's how I would have felt if they would have got Gahey in the door, because I just felt they were so far ahead. And it's actually really good for the league that they're not. It does open the door, unfortunately, for Arsenal and our favorite opposition manager, Mr. Legohead, to storm ahead. But like, they deserve to be where they are. They've earned it. They're playing good football. They're solid at the back. They're good up top, and they'll be one to keep an eye on for sure. The final point then, like, just to help us segue back to Newcastle, is the difference. You know, when you talked about how Isak was the main man, it was all about Isak, the big fish. And we've not done that with Voltemade, or at least Voltemade isn't that player, and he isn't that guy. But Voltemade, I mean, I was starting to see it a lot more. Obviously, being at the game, you see so much more when you're at a game. Obviously, in the stadium, than what the TV cameras show. And like, I found myself constantly looking to see where he was. Just like, no matter where the ball is, I was like, you know, is he working back? I mean, there was he made a big intervention in our box at one point. You know, he was obviously coming deep a lot, but you can just see him constantly, like his first kind of thought process isn't always how am I going to score from here?
Yeah.
Or how can I create a chance from here? How can I get into the best? His instinctive thing seems to be, how can I do something class with my teammates here? Like, that's football. Like, and those flicks, that obviously that flick for the third goal, I think, when he flicks it onto Gordon.
Yeah, to Gordon with the Barnes. Yeah.
Against Benfica. And even the goal obviously against Brighton, which we're going to come to shortly. Like, his mind, he's a young guy, right?
Yeah.
But like his mind is to kind of go, how can I do something great with the ball, or bring my teammates into it, or reward something they've done by obviously capitalizing on the chance here. And there's just, it seems to be a lot more. He's obviously, I mean, people talk about his link-up play, and he's closer to a 10 than a 9 and blah, blah, blah. But I think it's more about who he is as a person. He's not egotistical. He's, you know, he wants to play, he wants to enjoy the football with his teammates. And as much as we earlier talked about Jacob Murphy setting him up, I think Gordon and Voltemade is something to behold for the rest of the season. I think that's only going to get better and better.
It is only going to get better. He kind of comes across as the type of player that if you go, we need a right back, any chance he could play there, he'd give it a go, and he give you a very good showing, if you know what I mean. Like, he just the whole Wayne Rooney thing where you're like, he could play in all 11 positions on the pitch. Come here, he might have been a good goalkeeper, but Voltemade could do. I honestly, yeah, exactly. I honest to God think he's one of them players you could put in any position and he'd do you a job. He is just, his football and IQ is off the charts.
Yeah.
For such a young guy, like, it's insane.
Yeah, and it's just great to look at as well. And like, it's not often these days because there's so much football in front of us, and we're exposed to so much. And like, you know, back in the day, back in my day, Alan, before you were even around, like, you might see the odd highlight of something that happened in Serie A or in La Liga because it was on, like, it was brought up on a Sky News. But like, now obviously you just have access to so much football highlight reels, YouTube videos, that you don't get surprised anymore. No. And Voltemade he has that ability to actually make people go, holy shit, that was class. Yeah. Whether it's the penalty he took, the goal he scores against Brighton, the little flicks, the back heels, those kind of clever passes. There was a moment in the Benfica game, and I was behind the goal that we scored our first goal on, so down the Lees' end. So obviously in the second half, I think it was the second half, we're up playing the other way, playing towards the Gallagher. And he's coming deep, and the ball is kind of in the air. And it looks like he's going to either take it on the chest or just try and control it. And then he just this mad swing of a head. And he's trying to release, I can't remember if it was Murphy or Trippier. And the ball actually it was just a little bit too far, a bit of a fizz off the surface, and it goes out of play. But like, in the flick of his body, and he knew he was going to do that. I had no idea he was going to do that. And had it just came off, like, had it just been a little bit shorter, or like not as powerful, he literally had released Murphy or Trippier, whichever one it was, down that right hand side. And I was like, this guy is he's just fucking, number one, clever, and number two, he's just got this swag, but it's not egotistical swag. It's like, I want to do great things with a football. That's what I wanted a footballer.
Even his ball into Murphy for the goal for Gordon, like, the weight of pass was just perfect. Like, it's just amazing. I love waxing lyrical about him, but like, he's just an unbelievable footballer, and we're only going to see him getting better and better for us with Eddie Howe, like, molding him into the striker he wants him to be. It's very exciting.
And he plays for Newcastle United. Big Nick Voltemade. Love it. Oh God, I mean, I couldn't get enough of that song. I heard it in the stack. I heard it in the stadium. I heard it in Filthies. I mean, you could just sing it all day, and I think he loves it as well, Voltemade.
Oh yes.
The Irish Mag Show is proudly sponsored by The Half Volley, providers of high-quality, customizable clothing and merchandise catering for all sports teams, businesses, social clubs and events, with access to thousands of product types available with immediate delivery on the majority of all products, depending on location. Run by our own Scott Fitzpatrick from the Irish Mags community, the Half Volley are the official partner for all Irish Mags merchandise, and their new range has already been showcased at multiple meetups and games throughout the season so far. Irish Mag Show listeners can now avail of an exclusive member discount. Use code IrishMagsShow, all capital letters, at checkout. For any queries, email scott@thehalfvolley.com, follow @the_halfvolley on Instagram, or visit thehalfvolley.com for more information.
Right, let's move on. So, on to the main topic at hand. So, obviously, we have to talk a little bit about Brighton, Alan, where we unfortunately lost the match. Again, another tight game in terms of scoreline. We obviously went 1-0 down, managed to get ourselves back into the game through that automatic goal, which, let's face it, was just a beautiful finish. Again, it's instinctive, I suppose, is how I describe it. And then sadly, just again couldn't maintain, whether it's the concentration. I don't want to dwell on it too much. We are going to talk about the whole league versus cup and Champions League thing, but I couldn't get away from. So do you remember we played Liverpool and we managed to bring it back to 2-2? I think we were down to 10 men as well.
We were.
And because we were in the ascendancy and we were on top and Liverpool were shitting themselves, when we were at 2-2, we went to try to win the game. And we lost the game. I feel a lot of it was because we were trying so hard to win the game. I think that's why we ultimately lost. Similarly enough with this game, right? We're away to Brighton in a stadium that hates us, against Brighton, obviously, with a striker who just will, for the rest of all time, score against us until the day he retires. I just wanted to ask, do you think we, having leveled it at 1-1, had the opportunity to go, we'll take this? But I don't think we were. I think we were pushing to go and get another one. And then Welbeck did Welbeck things.
Yes. And it's going to be weird to say, but I never want us to just settle for a draw. If we've 10 minutes left and we can go for a game, I would be disappointed if we're on top and we then just suddenly went, no, we're okay with a draw here. The 3 points were there for the taking for either side, as we could clearly see. We were poor in the first half. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We weren't great in the first half. Second half, we were much, much better. And we're caught on the break. It is what it is. I never want to see us just settle for draws. Yeah, it's the we'll score more goals than you kind of mentality. But yes, that's what we want. We don't want to be the team going, a point will do here. You always want 3.
Even at the expense of, okay, we'd rather go for 3 than take 1, right? That's what you're saying. So,
yeah.
I get it. I'd never like to go into a game with that mentality. But I'm more asking the question of, when you get to a certain stage, and again, Liverpool's a good example. Okay, we're level with Liverpool with 10 men against, on paper, the best team in the league champions, blah, 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 blah. And then obviously against Brighton, similar story. We managed to bring, obviously we weren't down to 10 men or anything, but again, it's like the curse of the Amex. And even it didn't really happen with Arsenal. Obviously we were ahead at Arsenal and I was also at that game and it broke my heart, but just that inability to hold, despite having a great defense, despite all the clean sheets we've kept, we still just have this issue towards the end of games, whether it's fatigue, mentality, or I don't know. I just find myself wondering, is there something to be said for better game management at the very end of a game, whether that's accepting a draw or whether that's just not being a little bit risky to go, yeah, well, we'd love to get a goal, but we're opening ourselves up by doing that.
Cast your mind back to when we played AC Milan in the Champions League 3 years ago.
In St. James's Park.
In St. James's Park. This is the exact conversation we had. Yes. We were 1-1. We were in the Europa League and we were okay. And we were going, if we get a win, we could be in the quarterfinals or the round of 16 of the Champions League. And we conceded. Eddie Howe said,
crazy.
Yeah. Eddie Howe said, it's how I play. I will never settle for a draw. There's no point asking the man to change when he said before. It's how he plays. He's not going to settle for a draw. Listen, I understand what you're saying when you're going, we need to. 1 point is obviously better than no points. But in the grand scheme of things, I think we get more 3 points than 0 points in the grand scheme of the season. We'll win more
over the longer
season,
of course, as well. Yeah.
It'll work out to the benefit of us. Whereas we might get 7 points with draws, you'd rather have 15 with wins. Let's be honest about it.
I think that's fair. And like where we are now, I mean, we're 14th in the league. We've 8 games played. We've won 2, drawn 3, lost 3. We've 9 points. So had we drawn against, for example, Liverpool and Arsenal and Brighton, right, that obviously would have given us an extra couple of points. So maybe 12. We would currently be 10th instead of 14th. Yes. So maybe it's like fair point, but does it really matter at the end of the day over the long course of the season? Only the last day and the points tallies will tell us if we miss out by one single point here and there. Yes. That's where you'd be kind of worried. Okay. Right. Well, let's segue that towards the Champions League. Actually, do you know what? Really quickly, how much do you hate Danny Welbeck? Or why is Danny Welbeck able to score against us in every game he ever plays?
Why was he given 50 yards of space for that winner? There wasn't a man near him when he scored that winner. Like
all of us do. Everybody's like, Danny Welbeck, he scores against Newcastle. So
death taxes and Danny Welbeck scoring. Like, surely Dan Byrne knows at this stage that this man will just stand beside him.
Someone just, I mean, maybe our midfield was knackered because he was a bit deep. He came away from the centre. I don't know. But I just can't understand it. Obviously, look, we had Callum Wilson, who always used to scoring against West Ham, and they never seemed to be able to stop him. But for me, I think Danny Welbeck is now up there as the number one always scores against us player. And it drives me insane.
Arsehole.
It doesn't help that he also once had a loan spell with the Mackhams, so I think there's also something to be said there as well. Bastards. Okay, forget about that. Move on.
Happy thoughts.
We played Benfica. Obviously, good few Irish mags went over for that. Had a load of us in the stack. I was lucky to get a ticket myself, so I was delighted to be at that. Tev was there as well. We met Dara. We met a load of the lads. We met Jack. We met Niall from Cork. We met a whole big bunch of lads. It was brilliant. Like, I was at the Spurs 6-1. You know, hammering. I've been at some serious, unbelievable games and wins. I was there when we beat Arsenal 2-0 a couple of seasons ago. I just found this was one of the most enjoyable games I was ever at because nothing went wrong, and usually something goes wrong. I don't know how. Like I spoke to a few people who felt the same. They just really enjoyed, and I don't want to say it was routine. They did hit the post. Nick Pope had to make some saves. There, that winger who's on the right, Luca Bacchio, was a threat. Yeah, but it just felt like when there was 50-50 balls, they were going our way.
Yes,
and then you look at some of the individual performances. Like obviously, we mentioned Anthony Gordon. Like I thought Murphy was brilliant for the time he was on the pitch. I thought Chow and Botman. I couldn't figure out who was better in this because they were both class.
Unbelievable.
And then, Lewis Miley, I thought was quiet for about 10 or 15 minutes. Then he starts to get into the game. And then when Ramsey goes off, I actually think he got better and better because there was a bit more ball going to him with Joe Linton's on the field. And I was just looking at it going, everyone's playing well. They're all up for it. There's that element of we're actually really enjoying this. And you could see that translate into the football, the moves and the effort and ultimately the confidence. How was it watching from the bleaker? And by all accounts, another good meetup had as well.
It was a great meetup. I said to a couple of the lads, like, this is a different style of play for Newcastle. We're usually manic, lunacy, running around like mad things. It was the first time I thought we were being more thoughtful with the ball. Everything wasn't going a million miles an hour trying to break it. We were keeping the ball an awful lot more. And we just looked so comfortable. Like, I just felt like there was... Nick Pope, when he was called into action, was brilliant. He honestly didn't put a foot wrong all day. It's not very often you get to say that, and we're very thankful when we do get to say it. He's a brilliant shot stopper, but everything yesterday from him was brilliant. Man to man, nobody lost their jewels. Like that stat came out about Dan Byrne not winning headers. I don't think he lost a header all game. Like every single player on the pitch was brilliant. So a couple of times Luca Bayo got in, but like he is lightning quick. The one time where it looked like Dan Byrne got caught out with the long ball over the top, I don't think Dan Byrne was caught out. That ball was sensational. It was one of the best passes you'll see. It was a 70-yard pass that went straight to Luca Bayo's toe, and I think Pope saved it, but it looked like it was going to hit the post. But Pope stood up when he needed to be there. The back four were immense. I don't think obviously they had chances, but not that they never looked like they were going to score. We just looked comfortable every time they were coming towards us, which is brilliant to say. And the midfield, amazing. Like I thought Miley was sensational. He should have scored. It was a poor miss from that header. He really should have scored that. It was he was 6 yards out, not a person around
It's
him.
the first time I've ever seen him actually have a headed chance at goal for us.
Yeah.
You can't hold it against him, even though
No,
he's a
no,
big
no.
lad. You know, he just never actually gets those chances.
That was it. And it flashed across him quite quickly. Like he got up and he won the header. He didn't head it down. Come here, not the end of the world. Gordon, like talked to you earlier about Chris O'Given giving out stink about him. I thought he was amazing. He rightly the man of the match. He was brilliant. Didn't stop running all game. Had his fullback on toast. It was just great to watch. Goal and assist. What more can you ask for? Like he was amazing.
Yeah, and like this was the Anthony Gordon that we saw, 18 months ago,
Yes.
even 2 seasons ago. This is the Anthony Gordon who kind of terrorized the league that season prior to, what was the last international tournament? The Euros, where everybody and their uncle was saying Gordon should start in the left for England. The only person who didn't think so was fucking Gareth Southgate. Ridiculous. Anyway, and it's been a long time coming to see Gordon return to those levels. And like he's had setbacks. You know, he's had 2 red cards like that were very costly to Newcastle.
3?
Is it 3?
I think it's 3.
So with the cup, obviously the against Brighton, obviously.
Yeah.
The thing with Van Hecke, we had the Liverpool one. What was the third one?
Did not get sent off last season as well?
Maybe he did.
I think he did.
Listeners, let us know your thoughts in the comments while Alan ferociously checks to see if he's dreamt that or not. But, you know, to see him back to that kind of swag, I think the international break did him well in terms of scoring for England, getting off the mark there. That's 2 goals for England he has scored, starting for England, and starting to feel like, you know what, I should be one of the main men here, and I actually am this class. And he does thrive off vibes. He's a little bit of an ego player, but in a good way. That's the first time I think we've seen it for quite a while. And it'll probably come up later when we talk about the difference between league and cups, but just a totally kind of, I just want to say, like it looked like a different player to what I'd seen in a few games previously. And whatever it is, he loves the Champions League because he's now got 4 goals in 3 games.
Joint top goal scorer in the Champions League, if I'm not wrong. I think. Very sure he is. I think I've seen that stat knocking about on Twitter today. Yeah, it's chalk and cheese. He just running amok. Is it that teams are trying to get at us more in the Champions League and we have more space to exploit? Would well be, but like we've played really good teams in the Prem this season as well. And not that he hasn't done anything. He's obviously been thereabouts.
Yeah,
but yeah, he is just thriving. He's in form at the minute, and when he's in form, he plays. And when he plays, he's unbelievable, and he's just great.
And you can just see, like, what I noticed, particularly when he was up and down the wings, and both halves really, but particularly in the second half, he has this thing where like the ball is at his feet, and he kind of runs and he stutters and he kind of fakes it, and he's keeping the ball close to feet, taking his touches, and it's like he's waiting for the man to do something,
to dive in,
and it's like, I'm gonna drag this past you, and like there's nothing you can do about it. The only question is when I'm going to do it. And he just waits for that moment, and then he drags, and suddenly he's gone. And he like that right back was I tell you, he mustn't.
Poor man. Yeah.
And the flip side of it, then he was working back quite a lot. Like I actually, and it's been a while since I'd seen him do this. But there was 2 occasions, particularly in the first half, because it was down closer to me, where he was working back and winning the ball in almost a left back or left wing back position, depending on where Dan Burn was. So again, just all around, I think it's one of his best, if not the best, performances in Newcastle.
Absolutely.
Unreal. I mean, look, we could talk about different things all day. Bruno, I thought was Bruno again.
Yeah.
Like I was sitting, there was 2 lads beside me who were together, and then there was the chap on the left of me. Actually, shout out to the chap who's sitting beside me to the left of me, whose name is Alan, who was the lead singer of the band that plays in the Stack with the kind of long black hair, who we then met in Filthies because the band were playing there as well. So I saw him in the Stack, saw him in Filthies after the game, and sat beside him at the game.
Best friends.
Best friends, new friends. But we were kind of joking. We were like, how often are we going to sing like Bruno? There was just so many occasions where the entire stadium was inclined to sing the Bruno. It's like, he was just that good. He was just all over the pitch. And that pass, I think he threaded a pass through for Murphy in the first goal, wasn't it?
Was that not Valtamati?
I can't remember. I thought it was Bruno who played through Murphy that then swinged across to Gordon. Anyway, I just thought he was an example of how good a team performance was. Yeah. And that was a captain's performance, I think.
Yeah.
Last point on Benfica. Harvey Barnes scores goals playing on the right-hand side. Who knew?
Why didn't you do this last year?
We wouldn't have had to spend 50 million on Elanga if Barnes was doing the job.
This is getting frustrating how the signing we made isn't able to do what he's been promising to do for us, but the two lads who are trying to keep him out of the squad are both playing out of their skin at the minute. So we have 3 wingers playing brilliantly, but can only play 2 of them. 2 of them play on the left, 1 of them plays on the right. All 3 of them can do jobs on either side. It's great to be this frustrated about going, well, who do you play? Like, Murphy is just getting assists constantly. Barnes will get you goals, and Gordon is just Gordon. Like, what do you do?
I mean, they're great options to have, particularly when we've got all this additional game load, Like we were talking about it there before we record. Like we go and play Fulham on Saturday. We've got Spurs again midweek. Then we've got West Ham. No, is it West Ham after? Can't remember. But we're basically, for the next few weeks, it's weekend, midweek, pretty much all the way up to the international break. So we're going to need that rotation. We're going to need that depth.
From the Brighton game, for 21 days, I think there's 6 or 7 matches or something like that. In
7 matches.
Mental.
And it's been a long time since we've had that intensity of games. But again, looking at the rotation, Miley and Ramsey come in against Benfica, hugely positive.
Yes.
You would kind of have concerns for Byrne and Trippier without the likes of Tino and Lewis Hall, unless we can get them back soon enough. You would be looking to say, well, should Kraft go and play for an hour against Fulham? Like that kind of stuff. We'll come to that. But we seem more equipped at least. And the most positive thing I would say about Benfica was that we were able to rotate, particularly that midfield, and still dominate against what is a strong Benfica side. Like, they didn't play great, but they're still a good side, and they're managed by Jose Mourinho, who he's been around. Like, he's done a few.
He knows the set up a defense.
Yeah, he's done a few bits in his time.
Yeah.
We'll move on, Alan, because the biggest question we have is, why are we so good in the Champions League? We beat USG 4-0. We beat Benfica 3-0. Decent in the cups. I think we're going to batter Spurs as well. And then we go in the league and it just doesn't seem or to look as good or feel as good, or just doesn't feel as easy. You can tie that into away form a little bit. But yeah, why are we just not as good in the league? And that extends to the players. Why is Gordon not as good in the league as he has been in the Champions League? What's the story?
It's been very stop-start, and I hate saying hopefully this is another start to the season, but it looked good. It could be a positive start, but yeah, like, we've just struggled with everything. Defensively, when we've been good, we've been great, but we can't score. When we're conceding, we're able to score as well. So it's such a weird, like, it's a juxtaposition between the Prem and the Champions League, our form. It's chalk and cheese, as you said. I just can't get my head around it, really. Like, I don't know why we can't get a start in the league, that we can just build on something and get a bit of momentum, because that's it. We are a momentum side, and it does take a bit of building, but it's getting that going. And I thought we had it 2 weeks ago. Poor again last week. If we had gotten a result, it would have been great, but like, it's hard to put your finger on it.
It is, and I think one of the things I find myself kind of looking at going, after the Brighton game, I just was frustrated. I was like, we were so predictable. Like, Hertzler knew exactly what to do. He knew where to catch us out and blah, blah, blah. And then against Benfica, like, Jose Mourinho probably didn't expect to see Miley and Ramsey in the middle, for example, might not have factored in for that. Obviously, may not have expected such a good performance from the likes of Gordon and so on. But again, it just, at least there was a bit more variety. It did change how we looked and how we set up and how we played. And surely that's where we should be doing it, in the league where everyone knows us. Like, well, let's inject some variety. I mean, I know we got Fulham at home at the weekend, and to be honest, if we just line up like we did for Brighton, we'd probably beat them, because we should be good enough with the intensity and with the players we have. But when it comes to these Premier League games, tricky ones, away ones, whatever it is, I feel like that's when we should be a bit more adventurous or varied, or just kind of creating that element of surprise. And I just felt like Brighton had no concerns for the majority of that game about how we were playing.
But does that lead you not into, why are you not playing your best 11? Because that's what will be asked of Eddie if we go out, make a couple of changes, and he loses. Then you're going, well, why didn't you play Tonali instead of Miley? And you're going, I tried something. And you're going, well, you should just play your best 11. It's a catch-22.
I think we need to get past that. So we're probably all a bit emotionally scarred. Like 2 seasons ago, we only had 11 to play. So they were by default the best 11 we had. I think like when you look at Man City, to an extent, I mean, some of them don't really have a best 11, or at least it's rare you see it. There's always rotation. There's always injuries. There's always keeping a player fresh for different games. But ultimately, trusting your squad. Yes. We need to start trusting Miley and Ramsey more, and I think that game has given them more reason to do that. You know, you'd love to say, oh, you'd love to have Eddie Howe trusting Joe Willock more, but he has obviously not been in great form. But I think there comes a point where you don't want to say you have a best 11 because you have 16, 17 players.
Even an excellent squad.
Yeah. We're all more than good enough. And I think we're not there yet, but I think we're getting there. I'm like fucking Ian Road Aaron here, but I think we're heading that direction. I think there shouldn't really be that concept of we're going to play the best 11. Players need rests, or players need to be kept fresh. International breaks, traveling, all the different things that go into it. So
absolutely,
it doesn't worry me as much. Okay, so the solution to this problem, really, aside from what we said, is having that bit more variety, bit more tactical creativity, doing something different so that we're not just copy and paste every week. Teams know how we're going to play. Because, happened Forest last year. Forest were unbelievable for 60-70% of the season. And then teams figured them out. And then they started getting smashed. So that's where I think that you'd like to see a little bit more Eddie Howe using the players he has to be dynamic and different, and not just creating mad systems for the sake of it. Okay. Johan Wissa might help as well.
That's remember? That £50 million striker we signed hasn't played for us yet.
Yeah. Remember, we signed Johan Wissa apparently. I think that would be another one. He's hopefully going to be back, I think, in a couple of weeks' time.
The West Ham game is what was earmarked online from what I see. So
you never know. There's a West Ham game early next year as well, so it could be that one they're talking about. Right.
Don't hear that to me.
Let's wrap up and talk quickly about Fulham. We've got Fulham at the weekend. I don't expect to see any major tactical surprises. I think Tonali comes back. I think maybe Joe Linton comes back.
I don't think Joe Linton
reward somebody like Miley. You don't think so? Interesting.
I think Ramsey starts and gets another 60 minutes under his belt, and Joe Linton comes on for half an hour. Because, as I've said a couple of times, Joe Linton has not been amazing so far this season. And if there was anyone out of that midfield three that will come out, it'll be him. And I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Ramsey a little bit more creative playing against a Fulham who they won't be in a low block. They won't be sitting in for the whole game, but we'll need someone with a little bit more creativity to get unlocking defenses. And this is the type of game where you need that.
I don't hate it at all. Do I think it'll happen? Maybe not, but absolutely no problem with it. Whether it's Ramsey, whether it's Miley. I would like to keep seeing more Ramsey. We were chatting about it after the games. We were walking away from the stadium against Benfica, and it was good. He wasn't amazing, but he'd got a lot of running. He was popping up in a lot of different areas. He's barely kicked a ball for us on the grand scheme of things. So I want to see more of him. So I'd be perfectly happy to see him start against Fulham or Spurs in the Cup, whatever it is. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what he does. I mean, Eddie Howe now has to look at it and go, what am I doing with Elanga? If, do I need to reward Harvey Barnes here and bring him on the right because he went and scored 2 goals? Do I, obviously Murphy's playing well. He's got these decisions to make. He's got to manage this bigger squad.
Yes.
And like I said, I think it's going to be interesting to see what he does with the back four over the next month or however long it is till that international break. Can we keep playing the same back four in all of these games? Trippier was knackered by the end of the Benfica game. I think Dan Burn surely was as well, because he was up as much as he was down.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have to look at what's going on there, depending, of course, on the return of Lewis Hall and Tino Livramento. Right, give me your score prediction.
2-0 to Newcastle.
I wouldn't be against that at all.
No.
I am going to go one better, and I'm going to say 3-0. I think the clean sheet is there, the opportunity for the clean sheet. We barely mentioned Nick Pope from the Benfica game. What a fucking assist. 65 yards.
Throw, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Fair play to him. I mean, he then went and kicked his next goal kick out into the sand. But unbelievable assist, and it's his first assist of his entire career. So yeah, I do think 3-0. I think that Voltemade gets back in the score sheet there as well, and just the confidence. I think whether it's Gordon, whether it's Barnes, whether it's Murphy, and even Elanga coming in with something to prove, I just think that we've got a bit of confidence as a unit now, and I wouldn't like to be Fulham going into this weekend.
I think we're going to score from a corner as well. I don't know why Malik Chow is scoring.
He's due one. He's had a few chances. Yeah. He's due one. I'd like to see it. Okay, excellent stuff. Meetups for the Fulham game.
The Bleecker 100% confirmed. I don't think we have anything else. So yeah, Bleecker Street Bar in Dublin. So if you're in and around, hit us up. We will be there from 2 o'clock ish. I never say 2 o'clock because I'm always late. So anyone around Dublin, pop in. You're always more than welcome.
Excellent stuff. And one other thing to check out, it's on our website, theirishmags.com. We've announced it in the WhatsApp groups, is our new merch partner, which is
MFC Sports.
MFC, apologies. MFC Sports. So in addition to the half volley, we've also got MFC Sports on for a lot of our training gear. Brand new selection.
Yes, order went in today for me.
All we can.
Yes, absolutely lovely gear. I ordered today.
I had 4 things in the basket and I had to stop myself. I need to be careful. But we're checking out. We'll have the link in the description for the half volley and for MFC Sports. A good mix of gear and merch between both of those partners of ours for the Irish Mags, and all of that is also on the Irish Mag website. I can't even describe it. Just go have a look. Some of those gears, some of those training tops and t-shirts.
The jersey.
The jersey is
it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I like the little kind of, well, it's not a hoodie, is it a snuddy or whatever?
It's a snuddy, yeah. That was a new one to me, yeah. But it's nice, yeah.
Class, unreal. Check it all out. All the links are below in the description, as are our socials. We will be back next week. The road to episode 100 continues. We may even have 2 pods next week. There's so many games coming. Fulham at the weekend, Spurs. There'll be more Champions League. There'll be more everything. And make sure you're subscribed and following along on this journey. We'll be back for more Irish Magnus next week. So until then, thank you, Alan, for joining me. Thank you, listeners, for watching or listening. How are the lads? Slán go fóill, and we'll see you all very soon.
Anna Walia.
Take care.